So given the hypergrowth stage that HubSpot as a company was in, our business teams always had a large number of important projects, but the IT bandwidth was limited and could only deliver a small number of strategic projects. So we could never get the items that fell below the line prioritized. We also discovered that folks in the frontline teams had a better understanding of how processes worked within their business, and they cared more deeply about improving those processes with automation. It directly impacted their APIs. So I guess it became obvious to us that putting automation tools in the hands of the process owners was just common sense and the right way to go. The first set of projects that we migrated over actually came from our original integration platform. But in the past 3 years, we created over 800 automations connected to 100 plus applications within those. And we have about 100 plus employees actively building recipes in Workato in their respective organizations. Right now, we're sitting at about 80% of our builders actually coming from outside of the business technology team. This scale of adoption has enabled us to create an automation-first culture and an automation mindset.
Probably the past year or so, we experienced this S curve of adoption. Once the teams just started like showing the successes that they were having, everyone just started, wanting in, and Workato just sold itself. However, the adoption didn't come overnight. I mentioned we've been using Workato for 3 years now. It did take, some commitment to building competence and showing those successes, but after some point, like that usability which you talked about earlier, and then just the successes just kind of like took off, and it's been amazing for us.
So from a governance perspective, we give each team or department their own working space. So marketing has its own working space, HR has its own, etc. Each working space has its own set of builders, roles, recipes. It's completely self-contained. So based on the function, we control what the teams are able to do within each of their respective working spaces. And then coupled with Workato's dashboard, activity audit, dependency graphs, that gives us the ability from a centralized place to see what's going on within each of those workspaces. We also set up what we call a head chef or designated admin for each department. Their role is to provide a helping hand and also ensure that the team members follow the standards and best practices, like those governance items that are so important that you talked about. I can highlight a couple. I'll start with our employee onboarding process. It required information to flow between about 8 different teams across 15 applications. Any misstep or incorrect exchange of information caused delays in the new hire starting, getting their laptop, whatnot. So our people ops team, they were able to create automations that streamline this entire process to give new hires that delightful day one experience. The other customization automation that comes to mind is our customer success alerts program. Prior to automating, the customer success team, they used our BI tool, which is Looker, to research the specific situation of each and every customer. And you can do that for one customer, but that doesn't scale in the SMB space where we are. Doing that for 15 to 20 customers every week just wasn't working for us. So the CS team, what they did is they built automations to monitor the data, just like the person, the CSM was doing within our BI tool, and create the alerts for those CSMs. So when the customer activity indicated things like upsell, cross-sell, churn propensity, etc., there would be thresholds that would be exceeded where the alerts would be generated in the system for the CSMs to action. In many cases, we put that communication right in the hands of the customer to delight in their experience as well.